when it comes to focus, I realized that there is one particular thing or one particular thinking that is really the essence of it, that defines for me the big problem that we have with focus. And maybe you have experienced this, so when you're working on something, that there is this nagging thought maybe in the back of your head that thinks, maybe I should be doing something else. And so, yes, there are many forms of distractions. There is, phones, notifications, social media, other people wanting our attention. But at the one that is really, really big, I think that people very often ignore, neglect, or are not aware of, is that thinking in your own mind, thinking, have I chosen to do the right things? Am I, should I be doing something else? You're working maybe on your taxes, and then you think, maybe I should be playing with the kids. Or you're playing with the kids and then think, maybe I should be doing the garden. Maybe I should be washing the dishes. Maybe I should be working on my proposal for this client. Maybe, there's always this constant doubt when you are doing your work. And I believe that if you get rid of that, that would be amazing. That will really fine-tune your focus and make you invincible. And that is what I want to talk to you about today. This is the one thing that I discovered that I believe is going to make or break your focus and to 10x your productivity. I really, truly believe it can do that. So let's get right to this. I'm going to introduce you to this concept by giving you a quick example that I hope you can resonate with. Okay? Now imagine yourself going to the fridge. You open the fridge and you see something, a little tupper, maybe with food that you prepared the day before. You take it, you eat it, or maybe you warm it up and eat it, whatever it was. And then, you put it away, you get to work, you feel energized, all good. And now imagine a second scenario, a different scenario. You open the fridge, there's nothing there. You have to cook. Then you're thinking, damn, I don't have really the time to cook. Or you're thinking, what could I possibly do with those ingredients that I have there? Is this going to be enough? Am I missing something? Is this going to be still nutritious, or am I going to create something quick and dirty that actually I shouldn't be eating? And then you close the fridge and, do whatever. Either you eat something or you don't. But in your heart of hearts that you wasted a lot of time, and this is something that is bugging you. So what was the difference between scenario 1 and scenario 2? You see, in the scenario 2, you did a major mistake. And in scenario 2, what the biggest mistake that you've made, or that everybody makes, is we allow our mind to jump in and think. So, as soon as this doubt or this, there is a little opportunity for the mind to jump in and think, what should we be doing right now? As I mentioned at the beginning, this is the time where you start doubting everything. This is the time where you start to get off track. This is the time where you lose the momentum that you might have created over all these hours before. Maybe I'm not talking about the fridge anymore, obviously. I'm talking about the work that you've been doing. So that you might have created that momentum, and then all of a sudden, when the mind has the opportunity to jump in and question that, this is where then everything goes woof. And that is the mistake that we make. And I believe there's a way to fix this, and to fix this rather easy. The secret to really the biggest productivity experience is you need to separate thinking from doing. So strategy from execution. I mean, it is something that if you work, for instance, in the corporate environment, there's always about the strategy. But then there is a time where you actually have things on paper, you have those slides, you have communicated everything, you have the buy-in from everybody. And then is the time to execute. And when you execute, you don't challenge that strategy. You don't challenge the plan. You just do. And that is something that we can learn from these corporate people. I worked for more than 13 years in the corporate environment, and that is something that we did. And I never understood actually the consequences that they can have on you if you even implied on your personal productivity. So separating the planning process from the executing and doing process is big. So here's how you do that. Imagine that you do the thinking, everything that you want to be thinking about, that you want to strategize, that you want to plan, you do it at one certain point of time. And then when it comes to executing the plan, you completely eliminate that, doubt. You say, okay, in terms of productivity, just one example, the night before you go to bed, you plan the next day. This is what I'm going to do. and you create a list that you feel comfortable with, that you have, you considered all those elements that you need to consider. For instance, you look at the day and think, okay, there is a meeting, there is a call, so these times are already gone, and then I have these times left. I will do that and that and that. You visualize, you think about the day, say, does that make sense? If I would accomplish those things, would I actually feel good about the day? Yes, okay. So all these things, all these questions, all that thinking goes into the planning. But once you've done that, you lock it. This is what it is. This is your list for the next day. And the next day, all you have to do is you execute that list. Imagine that all those things, let's say you have 3, 4, 5 different tasks for the day. All these tasks now are reduced to one single task in your mind. Execute that list. Imagine it's almost like being on a mission. You are on a mission. Your mission is execute that list. You don't challenge that list. You don't doubt that list. You don't renegotiate that list. And your mind will jump in and it will tell you all sorts of things. Your mind will tell you, what if this is not the right thing? What if you should be doing something else? But then, because you have planned it before and you are in execution mode, you will say to yourself, I'm going to run this today. If I was wrong, I'll see it by the end of the day and I'll adjust for the next day. You see the difference of between having something that you can execute and shut out the mind. So you use your mind for what it's there. You use your mind for planning and putting something that you feel comfortable and driven behind. But then you say to your mind, thank you very much. That was what I wanted you for. Now I want to execute. Please shut up. Okay, this is what happened. And so you go from the morning to the afternoon and you execute that list. And if some things go off, it doesn't matter. You don't have to get everything down on the list. You don't have to be super productive. It's a learning process. It's an improvement process. But that separation from thinking and executing will make all the difference. I guarantee you, if you try that, you will see that your day runs and flows very, very well. Why? Because even if people drag your attention, pull you off and say, can you help me with that? Or your boss, and then you go and do that. When you come back, you look back at the list. There's no doubting, what should I be doing now? What should I be doing next? You just do what's next on the item. You just do what's next on the according to your time schedule. That's what it is. You separate the thinking from execution. Because as soon as you allow your mind that little window of opportunity to jump in and doubt, you lost. You lost momentum. You lost being on track. You lost the confidence in getting these things done. You lost the confidence in actually managing the whole list. All sorts of things will creep into your mind. So that's why it is important to lock off your mind.